Hey, welcome back, Beowulf Nation. It's on Beowulf back at it with another YouTube video. So, crazy news. So Lamborghini by 2024, the whole lineup, that means every vehicle they make will be hybrid cars. So there'll be no straight gas vehicles anymore they're making. And I'll read you out this article because when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I gotta make a video talking about this because this just shows how the future is going forward. They're not full electric yet, but hey, it just shows that times are changing, and if you're not grasping for where we are living in 2021, we're not living in the 1980s anymore. Stuff is changing big time. It's like there's first the shortage of vehicles, that like semiconductors, and they can't even build cars, and we'll probably do that in a whole nother video. It's like it's crazy stuff. I've been posting some stuff on my TikTok too. One of my last TikToks got like 10,000 views, and it was shared like almost 200 times. It's wild. It was all about some stuff that I don't even know if I could make a YouTube video talking about it because it is so. There's certain things you can't say in certain people's names, and that was kind of what that video was going for. And definitely check it out. I am Beowulf on TikTok because I post some pretty cool news that maybe stuff that I'd be not thinking about doing on a YouTube video. And it's actually interesting because when I posted it on my Instagram, I'm kind of had my full of Instagram. Off subject real quick, it's just they flagged it, and there was like one video that I was doing something about showing how buoys were showing temperatures in the ocean right before a hurricane came. And they flagged it saying it was something else non-related to what the video was about. It's kind of a little frustrating. So TikTok, it's kind of, I'm putting a little more efforts into the TikTok. I've done some pretty cool viral videos on it recently. So check me out. If you do the TikTok, maybe not everybody does. And that's kind of why I do it too, because it's all a different audience. Anyway, so Lamborghini plans to electrify entire range by 2024. So does that mean it's going into, usually vehicles are like when you're buying a car, it's a 2021, it was built in 2020, they're always a year behind. So does this mean as soon as they roll out 2024, or does it mean in model year that could be a year earlier? Anyways, it's happening really soon. It's exciting, to be honest. It says right here, Lamborghini has announced plans to produce only hybrid electric supercars by 2024, becoming the latest sports car producer to shift away from polluting internal combustion engines. Which is kind of shocking to see that, not everybody could go buy a Lamborghini, nor do I think everybody should go buy one. But if you got the money, nobody should stop you what you should go buy. And if the elite vehicles are doing this, just wait to other stuff. I know, like, by 2024, they're not making the Camaro anymore, and it just shows of how rules that people don't think really exist, that do exist, is how things are changing really fast. And in just a couple of years, basically when these come hybrid, the Chevy's not making the Camaro anymore, and it's not coming back. There's just, a lot of stuff changing. If you got the money, go buy it. In my opinion, go invest in the cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. If you got extra cash, that's what I would be doing with my money. But hey, I'm not giving financial advice here. It says the Italian supercar company announced on Tuesday, so this is kind of like not recent news, but this is a couple months ago, so I figured to talk about. It was investing, this is in euros, 1.5, I think that's 1.5 BN. Which I don't know the conversion in euros, but hey, it looks like it's a lot of money in hybrid all-electric vehicles. It's also too, I really think that they're not going just into hybrid, that they will be going full electric in a short period of time. The brand, which is a lot of people don't know too, is Volkswagen owns Lamborghini, it owns Audi, owns all these brands, and in which it says here, the brand which owned by Volkswagen said the current models Huracan and Aventador sports cars and your sports utility vehicles will be hybrid by 2024. So it means the SUV and the sports cars, or technically let's call them supercars, what some people say. And it would launch a new all-electric model by the end of the decade. which is just showing what I just said before reading the article. I'm already telling you, and I didn't know that, but I'm telling you, stuff's changing. We're gonna see, it's kind of interesting, but then also too, I think I'm gonna talking about a whole nother video about this, because there's a lot of concerns of electricity throughout the whole United States right now, and which I'll do that in another video instead of just jumping off subject. But Lamborghini president and chief executive said the electrification plan would take the company towards more sustainable future while always remaining faithful to our DNA. And a lot of future vehicles too, they'll be electric, will have like speakers where you could have your car sound like an F1. So a lot of people are all concerned about what the sound of their car is. And I have a relative, I can't really say what he does for a living because it's kind of like top secret. And we were talking about this stuff back like 15 years ago. I remember we were sitting in Las Vegas, sitting there, we were talking about electric cars and how I said how people would be converting these. They had speakers and sounds, and basically that's what's going on already. And you can make your car sound like an F1 car. So all these people are all concerned, well, I like the sound of a gasoline engine. What, you need to make a speaker? You make your car sound like whatever you want it to be. I'd rather be driving around with the car sounding like it's an F1 car. Those pops, boom. But that's just me. He admitted it could be a challenge to evoke the feel of the V12 engine in an electric car. We have defined sportiness is in the new era. In the battery electric area, he said range is the top priority. This is just still something we have to work on. That's a lot of stuff too. There's another video too, because there's other stuff with ranges with these lithium batteries that will be in the works. It's very interesting. It is unclear what form of the electric model will take. Winkleman said it was likely to be a 4-seater in terms of design, and sexier is a 2-door car, he added. Woohoo! Lamborghini has also been synonymous with pre-eminent technologies, expertise in building engines, boasting extraordinary performance. This commitment will continue as an absolute priority of our innovation trajectory, Winkleman said. Let's get to the juicy stuff, right? Today promise, supported by the largest investment plan of the brand's history, reinforces our deep dedication to not only our customers, but also to our fans, our people, and their families, as well as to the territory where the company was born in, Romagna, and to the made in Italy excellence. Also too, most people don't know, Lamborghini started off making tractors, and I think they still make tractors. It's kind of crazy when you see the Bull, and it originally was a farming company. It's pretty kind of cool. I think it's kind of interesting. It says here, the plans, but Lamborghini behind its rival Ferrari, which is promised to launch an electric model by 2025. So, you know, like all these brands are moving, stuff's changing. Jaguar Land Rover, are a UK-based car maker owned by India's Tata Motors. He said its luxury Jaguar brand cars will be electric only by 2025, and it would be abandoned petrol vehicles entirely in the middle of next decade. There's just some like really crazy and exciting stuff going on, and I think people have to like grasp, like I said, we're not living in the 1980s anymore. We're in 2021 going into 2030. I like to see the future happening. You know, you watch the movie Back to the Future, and they said by 2015 we're gonna have flying cars, which, hey, that just recently happened. Set a record of a vehicle that's coming out that can fly and drive, sports car, and it happened. So hey, it didn't happen in 2015, and it didn't look like the movie Back to the Future Part 2, but hey, it's happening. I'm excited, you know. We don't got those hoverboards and stuff, but hey, let's see. When they got some stuff talking about Ford, Ford has promised that all of its cars on sale in Europe will be electric by 2030 and would invest, let's see, I think they're meaning 1 billion. I think earlier that they were talking about billions in there. $1 billion in converting a vehicle assembly plant in Germany to become the first electric vehicles facility in Europe. There is definitely like, well, first off too, Ford isn't the only car that Ford makes now is the Mustang, and that's it. They make no cars anymore. And I think a lot of it is too with electric vehicles, it's the size because all these batteries is like basically like a skateboard platform. So you can't like have all these different, like, it's funny because like 10 years ago, there was like, they were all going into these like tiny cars. Like you have Fiat, Cyan had all these like small cars, and they're all trying to be like, this is gas, fuel efficient. Now seeing that we're leaving out of petrol vehicles and going into electric, these teeny tiny cars cannot hold the battery output that can be needed to what is all happening. That is why they're phased out. It says right here, governments around the world have begun proposing deadlines as early as 2030 for phasing out petrol-fueled internal combustion vehicles in order to hit climate goals. The UK has announced a ban on the sale of new cars and vans powered solely by petrol and diesel by 2030. It is, you know, think of it. We're in 2021 and it's, yeah. It says Norway, which relies heavily on oil and gas revenues, aims to become the world's first country to end the sale of fossil fuel powered cars, setting a 2025 deadline. Fully electric vehicles may hit up 60% of monthly sales in Norway. It's kind of interesting when you talk about Norway, because I am Scandinavian, 50-50 Norwegian and Swedish, and when I was a child going to Norway and Sweden, I have relatives that work on the big oil rigs, and that's pretty much how Norway would make all its money. It's shocking when a country is like, it costs really expensive to live in Norway and Sweden. If you work for one of these oil companies, you actually are pretty well off. But seeing that stuff's changing and hearing from relatives, the majority of my relatives in Norway and Sweden are all driving electric cars already. And I've seen some stuff that Sweden is doing with electric cars, how they stay charged while they're moving, which again should be another future video. There's just a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, so that's basically in a nutshell of what is all going on. It's very exciting because I think it also makes you kind of wonder why there's such a shortage of vehicles, because there's a lot of stuff changing. I've heard rumors where people think this and that, but it is crazy when you read this in deadlines, and it's just not the United States. It's all around the world that stuff is very changing. And it's cool that it's going to do electric. I really see going into like 2030, you won't see as many of these petrol, I don't like calling it gas. People in the United States call it go gas. You're buying a liquid. I don't like calling it gas, because I think of gas, I think of propane, and I think of natural gas. But when you look at it, you'll see not as many petrol stations. There'll be these like huge fast charging stations, and people are going to be it's going to be very different. And we'll look back and then people go, oh, I should have been doing this. Personally, do I think electric car, would I go buy a Tesla, or would I go buy like a vehicle Ford's building? The hard thing being where I live, the closest is, we hear Ragnar barking. There's probably somebody up front. She's like in guard dog mode. It's funny, I'm making the videos, my dog's like guard in the front of my house. The closest Tesla dealer is in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is like a couple hours away. Well, you would have to have the car towed to be there. Tesla doesn't like to sell their parts. It's like you're going to them and you're in this long wait. Then when you look at somebody like Ford or, you know, like Toyota or any of these where they got a bunch of dealers, there's going to be a wider area of getting those vehicles repaired while you're on the road if you take a road trip, than a brand where it's like they're in select areas. Now, if you're in big, giant cities, there's probably a bunch of them, but if you're out here, there's none in South Carolina. I don't think there's any in South Carolina. So you got a far way to go if you have a Tesla, which Teslas are cool. I wouldn't think about I think they're actually, Tesla's going to be taking Bitcoin again. We're purchasing the vehicle. But my opinion, if you have Bitcoin, you'd rather save it and invest it where it's going to go up than investing Bitcoin into a depreciated asset. Makes no sense. But again, no financial advice from me. This is about it. There's a lot to talk about, and I love doing these. I love talking. I've kind of had my fool talking about jet skis, to be honest. It's like, how much can you talk about it? Then where we're going into the future. I like to talk about a whole bunch of stuff because my brain's always going with cool things, and I know knowledge about a lot of stuff. And instead of just talking about one thing, like a cool jet ski car, I'm getting a little bored with it. So I like to change it up. Otherwise, I'm gonna get burned out and I don't wanna do anything with jet skis anymore. So, anyways, if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. Existing subscribers, hit the bell notification. Also, I'm on an Amazon store. Check that out at amazon.com/shop/IamBeowulf. A bunch of cool stuff in there. So make sure you guys check that out. Be driven to win. Remember, every day is Earth Day. Stay mighty and keep strong.